Live. News 8's Good Morning Connecticut starts now.
A bolder Bernie firing at his Democratic rival. Hopeful Hillary looking to win her adopted home state. A determined Donald trying to keep up with his front-runner status. And tough Ted defending his remarks. The latest on Vote 2016.
All right. Umbrella alert as we take a live look at Middletown. What a nice shot of the Connecticut River this morning. You are not going to want to leave home without that umbrella today. We're talking about some on and off kind of all day rain affair. It's going to be one of those days. See a lot of cloud cover out there right now.
We should probably shout out Brandon for that creative writing as well.
Yeah, that's our producer. He's did a nice job today.
Keeping the election interesting as this continues. Good morning, everyone. Time now is 6:30 on this Thursday morning. Thanks a lot for waking up with us. I'm Laura Hutchinson.
Good morning, Laura. Good morning, everybody. I'm Keith Kuntz. Here to talk about the weather, meteorologist Sam Cantro filling for Gil this morning, and you've got a lot to talk about, my friend.
Yes, indeed I do. The first thing is the big change since yesterday morning. Parts of our state 30 degrees warmer right now than it was yesterday. So if you had a really heavy winter jacket, you definitely don't need one today. 53 is our temperature in the capital city with winds coming out of the south. The south winds, that is exactly why we have seen such mild weather continuing to come in. We're warmer now than where we were at this point yesterday afternoon. No visibility concerns this morning. We don't have any fog across the state, which is good. And most of the rain is isolated to other parts of the region, not for us here in Connecticut. Just a few sprinkles here and there, no big problems for us. And we'll look at the temperatures across the state and across beyond the state. New York City this morning going from a temperature around 30 yesterday morning to now 53 degrees. So progress is what we will call this. 9 o'clock's temperature 53, then we're up to 55 as we head towards lunchtime, and more rain expected for the PM commute. Teresa, any problems on this AM commute? Are we doing all right?
No, Sam, this is actually a lovely ride to work. I mean, I know it's going to change, but right now it's a pretty good time to leave the house. We checked in with state police and we're not seeing any issues or delays. We're going to start off live here in New Haven. We had a traffic stop here by the northbound side taken out a lane, but that is wrapped up, and you'll see both sides of the highway are looking very nice. If 91 is your commute coming from Wallingford, North Haven, that's pretty smooth as well as you approach the merge. I-84 here in your capital city. The overnight hours 46 is blocked, and it will be for several months, but by 6 it typically does open. You'll see both sides are looking very nice, and we are dealing with lots of green speed data. Looking terrific here on Route 9 and Route 2. And then our friends who travel the quiet corner down 395 into Norwich, you are doing so right at the speed limit. Check those cameras over at WTNH.com. Keith, over to you.
Teresa, thank you. Now to our Vote 2016 coverage and another day out there on the campaign trail for the presidential candidates. Here's a look at what the Republicans are doing today. Senator Ted Cruz and Governor John Kasich both will be campaigning in New York State. Donald Trump does not have any scheduled events today. For the Democrats, Hillary Clinton will be fundraising in Colorado and Ohio, and Senator Bernie Sanders will be in the state of Pennsylvania. Laura.
Keith, the presidential candidates are moving on to other states following primaries in Wisconsin. The Democrats taking swings at each other about their qualifications to hold the nation's top office. For the Republicans, protesters taking on Donald Trump supporters at a rally in New York. Here's ABC's Stephanie Ramos.
At a rally in Pennsylvania, a bolder Bernie Sanders.
Let me just say in response to Secretary Clinton, I don't believe that she is qualified. If she is...
Sanders firing back after Hillary Clinton released a flurry of attacks his way. The Clinton camp tweeting, "This is a new low," saying Clinton never said Sanders was not qualified. With New York set to vote in less than 2 weeks, Clinton is gripping a Sanders stumble.
In a number of important areas, he doesn't have a plan at all.
Sanders tripping up during an interview with the New York Daily News about how he'd break up the big banks.
You think that the Fed now has that authority?
I don't know if the Fed has it, but I think the administration can have it.
Sanders remains unfazed despite his uphill climb to the nomination. Clinton has nearly 700 more delegates. Sanders needs to win 74% of the remaining delegates to beat her. For the Republicans, all eyes set on the Empire State. A mob of protesters and supporters greeting Donald Trump in Long Island as the GOP frontrunner tries to win over New Yorkers in his home state. For Ted Cruz, a rough welcome in the Bronx.
Get out of the Bronx!
Cruz defending the remarks on New York values that he first made months ago, while also trying to show off his Spanish to an immigrant-dominant community.
Entiendo casi todo en español.
We're likely to see a battle over delegates at the GOP convention this summer. On the Democratic side, that's something Bernie Sanders is hoping for as he goes up against Hillary Clinton. Stephanie Ramos, ABC News, Washington.
Now, voters in our state headed to the polls in a little more than 2 weeks. New voter registration doubling in the past 3 months, going from 10,000 back in January to 20,000 in March. So far, none of the candidates have received enough delegates to secure their party's nomination. And one Quinnipiac University professor says this race is far from over.
Initial anger and fascination has given way to complete unpredictability. We now are in a situation with Donald Trump looking very much like he will not go to the convention in Cleveland with a majority of the pledged delegates.
The message from both parties: voters need to come out and vote in Connecticut's presidential primaries that'll be held on April the 26th.
Remember, we are your home for Vote 2016 coverage from the Connecticut primary coming up on April 26th all the way through the general election in November. Stick with News 8 on air and online.
Happening today, U.S. Senator Richard Blumenthal will take some time out this morning to meet with Judge Merrick Garland down in the nation's capital. Blumenthal will meet with Garland at 11:30 this morning. President Obama has nominated him just last month as his nominee for the vacant Supreme Court seat. Republicans in the Senate are refusing to even hold confirmation hearings. They argue the next president should be the one to fill that post.
In the midst of Connecticut's heroin crisis, Congressman Joe Courtney today will hold a roundtable meeting on the growing heroin and opioid epidemic in New London. Courtney and Mayor Michael Pissarro will meet with the New London Youth Affairs Substance Abuse Coalition. During the meeting, they'll hear from local advocates and families about the impact of the opioid epidemic on their community. They'll also hear about efforts to stop substance abuse among young people. And be sure to stay with News 8 for continuing coverage of Connecticut's heroin crisis on air and online, and of course on social media.
Well, we're watching this morning a push for paid family leave here in Connecticut. The state of New York just passed a bill giving 12 weeks of full paid time off for brand new parents. A bill in the state Senate is now waiting for a vote. It would allow paid family leave to care for a sick family member or if somebody has a personal health crisis. It also extends to parental leave in the event of childbirth or adoption. All employees would contribute less than 0.5% of their pay into a statewide insurance pool. The Department of Labor would administer that.
Time now is 6:37. A state budget committee has approved huge cuts to nearly every state agency and state service. The approved cuts only cover about 2/3 of the projected red ink for next year, still leaving a $300 million hole. There's only 1 month remaining in the General Assembly session. The governor must make job cuts within the next 2 weeks to get employees off the state payroll by July 1st.
We've got you back with a new payment option for your taxes. The IRS created a program to pay your taxes in cash at 7-Eleven. People who don't have a bank account or a credit card no longer have to go to a taxpayer assistance program. There are instructions on the IRS payments website on how to take advantage of that new option, but the IRS does warn taxpayers to start the process early because there are a few steps involved in that process.
All right, it's warm out there, but grab the umbrella.
Yes, indeed. And we are expecting rain for today. Is it widespread rain? No, not really. It's definitely damp outside. We are not seeing any widespread heavy rain for this morning. So for the kids at the bus stop over the next hour or two, there will be temperatures in the upper 40s to low 50s, maybe a little bit of drizzle in a couple of towns. Otherwise, not so bad, I guess. A little breezy out of the south with winds gusting to 30 or 35 miles an hour the next couple of hours. The winds continue to pick up through the day today, which means we could see a few scattered power outages around recess for the kids. It will be a little bit windy, and recess may end up not being able to be outside today. It may have to be inside the gym because of how, well, A, windy, and also B, because of the rain that we're going to be seeing. Rain gets much more widespread, so the PM commute definitely more of an issue than the AM drive is going to be, and it's not particularly chilly out there for today. Teresa, roller coaster ride, 4 days. Then things change up, get a lot more normal for this time of the year. We'll show you the details in just a bit.
All right, well, buckle up then, huh? Thanks, Sammy, and good morning, everyone. Right on cue, we're seeing the delays down I-95. I'll get out of the way, and you'll notice 95 southbound is jammed up right here in Bridgeport. Now, you're getting through Stratford just fine. It's as you hit 27 gets jammed up, and it does continue down to the Fairfield Rest area. The map, however, is indicating a gorgeous ride. State police are not reporting any accidents, so should be a little bit easy for you this morning, and we're not dealing with any construction, so not a terrible ride. In fact, let's just check some speeds around the state. Right now, New Haven to Hartford, that is a 38-minute drive, so nothing unusual about that. Hartford to Waterbury, that's westbound 84, 33 minutes. Do expect midday construction, of course, weather permitting, but all lanes are scheduled to be open. And then right now, this is a long ride because of the delays that you're seeing in Bridgeport. Also, as you cross over the state line, about an extra 35 minutes added to the ride, New Haven to the George Washington Bridge. Check the cameras for yourself at WTNH.com. Back to you both.
Teresa, thank you. Concerns about crops, Mother Nature not being very nice to some farmers in southeastern Connecticut. Why this latest round of winter weather could be a 1-2 punch. That's coming your way next.
Plus, protecting your skin. The sun can do some real damage even in April. We've got your back this morning with the reason why.
So will the sun come out at any point today? Sam up next with his complete forecast. Right now, live look, kind of cloudy morning in New London. It is now 6:41 if you're just getting up and about. Don't go away. We're coming back.